Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you guys are new. Today's video is going to be about my crazy roommate experience sophomore year of college. I felt like this video would be fun to film and I hope you guys enjoy. First of all, I'm going to make like a little disclaimer, and I just want to say that one, I'm not making this video to call anybody out or do any of that because that's not what I'm about. I just thought it would be fun to share my experience, and I know people like watching these videos. I like watching them. And two, I'm not going to obviously use anybody's real name, the name of my school, or the dorm building that I lived in for certain reasons, which you'll find out later in the video. I have these in, like, I wrote stuff down in my notebook, and then I have my laptop over here. So if I'm looking like that way or down, that's why. So without further ado, let's just get on into the video. So a few things that you guys should know before I get into it is that one, the roommate that I lived with my freshman year was also my roommate sophomore year. We knew each other and we had lived together already for 1 year. We had a different suite style. So my freshman year, we had one bedroom. It was really tiny and our beds were like really close together, but we had a TV that came with the room, and the bathroom we shared with the adjoining room next to us, so it was like a Jack and Jill. But we didn't have any type of living space. It was just the 2 bedrooms and the bathroom that connected them. This past year, my sophomore year, we had a suite style with a living room. So for my school, that meant there was one main door, and then you walked in. I don't think I have any pictures. If I do, I'll insert them. But you would walk in the main door and you're in the living room. And then there was a bedroom on the right and a bedroom on the left. My roommate and I from freshman year shared a room again. However, this room was a lot bigger and we had our own bathroom attached to our room. And the other bedroom had their own bathroom. Those are the first, overall things you guys should know. Getting into how things first went down. I had 3 roommates. I was the 4th one. So we were in I guess you could call it a quad, but not really. So it was, I'm gonna use the alphabet. So it was me, and then my roommate A, and then the other 2 girls B and C. 4 of us all together, and at my school, we have what's called drop and go day. Basically, you can bring whatever big items you have and also get a layout of the room, a feel for it, and it's usually a week or week and a half before actual move-in day, so you know what's gonna work, what's not gonna work, other things you need to bring, that kind of thing. And then also, if you don't know your roommates, it's a chance for you to meet. A and I already knew each other, so the meeting thing wasn't huge for us. On drop and go day, I came before A got there, and both B and C had been there for a while, so I didn't really talk to them that much. But I get there and I'm like setting up my big furniture, not big furniture, but like a dresser I brought, and getting a layout of the bathroom because our bathroom was much different freshman year. Once A got there, we were moving, talking, and all that. So at the end of that day, both of our parents talked, and we decided that I was going to bring the TV and A was going to bring a printer. Even though the printer wouldn't be as expensive as the TV, it was a fairly decent expense. So we were like, okay, that works. We settle on that, all well and good. A is there for a week before I am for extra stuff. And she texts me and she says, oh, hey, can you buy a scale also? Now, mind you, I had already been purchasing pretty much everything that we were bringing to the room to share, like the shower curtain, the shower liner, shower shelves, a big bin for all of our cleaning supplies and whatever other bathroom stuff. And my dad had made like a tabletop on top of it because there was no counter space. So I was bringing all of that. I was bringing the TV, bringing a TV stand, bringing a nice little rug for the entryway, a key holder. I was bringing a lot of stuff. So I texted her back and I was like, sorry, I can't get that. you have a car there, you're there, and I know you have time to go buy one. Why don't you buy a scale if you want one? I never ended up buying a scale. She didn't end up buying a scale. Shocker. Which didn't bother me. Like, I don't check my weight ever. So then we actually move in and I get there and there's no printer. Honestly, the printer isn't that big of a deal because I knew I wasn't really going to use it. And if I did need a printer, we had a printing lab and there's also the library. So she tells me that she decided to tell her parents that we didn't need a printer because we didn't really we weren't going to use it. Which, all right, yes, but that wasn't the deal. I bought a TV that was over $200 for the room along with everything else that I listed, and she paid $200 for a rented micro fridge that the school provided. You can see where the frustration began. I was frustrated already before, like, the first week because I brought everything really to this room and she brought nothing. Then we get into like the first week of school. We're trying to get to know B and C a little bit, and freshman year, I was different than I was this past year. Everybody changes. I also have a boyfriend, and my roommates really liked going out. I engaged in that for the first weekend or so. I started to not like that scene, and I started to see it affecting my mental health and that kind of thing. So I decided that it really wasn't for me. It's not worth it. And so I just really didn't engage in it as much. And I think A was upset about that because freshman year I did go out with her more, and we did do more things like that together. Personally, it wasn't really my thing anymore. The three of them started doing stuff all together, which is fine because I chose to take myself out of that, and I understand that. So them doing stuff together, whatever, it's cool, it's fun. But it just like was kind of awkward for me. So there was that. A and I didn't really talk anymore. Like we weren't really close anymore. So, which didn't bother me. We're separate majors and we're very, very different personalities. I honestly didn't care. My freshman year, like, my boyfriend would come over and the two of us would just watch TV while she was doing whatever, and that was fine. And like he'd be over and she was fine with it, which ends up changing later on in the year. Hi, baby. My puppy. Before I get into the incident, I want to talk about like A just became very like I said, people change. I think A got really comfortable and just felt like she didn't need to be respectful of my space. I would find her dirty clothes on my things, like on my desk, on my bed. She never took out like our trash, and she never took out the bathroom trash when her stuff was in the trash can. Just like things like that, like that kind of annoyed me. She didn't clean like the bathroom or anything. I didn't care if she cleaned her side or not. She did try and clean my TV, which annoyed me because she used a Clorox wipe on a TV. If you ask me, it's pretty common sense. You don't do that. Like, do you use a Clorox wipe on your laptop? I don't think so. So that really annoyed me, and I basically told her, like, don't touch my TV. Don't do that because that's, like, just don't touch it. After that, like, we didn't really talk and stuff. So then the living room incident comes up. It happened right when we got back from Thanksgiving break. Now, I had contributed to the living room, which she did not at all. But even though I didn't use the living room, besides to make coffee occasionally in the morning, I put a blanket out there and I put a pillow out there. Both were mine, both I bought with my own money. So I get a text. We have like a group chat with all the roommates, and it's from B. And I've never really had confrontation. Like, I never really talked with this girl. She sent this really long text saying that it was dirty and that A and I needed to clean the living room because we were gonna have a problem if we couldn't clean up after ourselves. And this really annoyed me because I never used it and I never sat out there with guests, which B and C constantly did, which I didn't care. Like, if they want to do that, that's fine. So I texted A, even though like we weren't really like besties. I texted her and I said, like, this really annoys me because I know that I don't use the living room and I know you don't use it, so I'm not gonna clean up. I'm like not someone's maid. She agreed, so I sent a text back saying, look, like, we don't use the living room and it's just like, I'm not gonna clean up after somebody else. So I ended up moving my Keurig out of the living room so there wasn't gonna be any like, oh, well, you're in there for like a minute in the morning making coffee. So I moved my Keurig out so that nothing was out in the living room anymore, besides what I contributed, which is stuff that they used all the time. That was the living room incident, and I feel like it went over fine, and there was no like aftermath of it besides like one minor, like it came back up later, which I'll get to. Then second semester came around. Everyone just tried to stay in their own lane. And I just, like, things that she did annoyed me, but I never spoke about it because I was like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm not living with her next year. We're not having huge conflicts, I guess you could say. But then I find out I need to get knee surgery over spring break. Knee surgery is very intense. It's very limiting in what you can do afterwards. So I was just like, hey guys, like, I'm getting knee surgery over spring break. Just wanted to let you know because it's gonna be a lot. I get my knee surgery and I come back and I'm in a full leg immobilizer on crutches. Can't do anything for myself. I came back 3 days after my surgery also, and I started class 4 days after my surgery. I constantly had people helping me. And because of like not really feeling super close with my roommates or like feeling super comfortable with them, I never wanted to ask them for help. So I would ask my boyfriend, and I would ask two of my friends that lived in my building as well. They lived a floor below me. So they would come up and help me, and on occasion, I would give them my room key to go into my room and get me my ice or get me my medicine if I was in the study lounge or at one of my friends' rooms, like a floor below me. Now, nobody expressed any concerns with this. Nobody had any issues. And in fact, some of the roommates would even like start conversations with them when they came in to get something. My friends and my boyfriend never intruded on their space, is what I'm saying. They were very respectful, which is why the next incident, which is the craziest thing to me, like, I don't know why this had to happen. At the end of the first week of being back from spring break, I get an email, and it's from my RD, which is our resident director. It says that I'm in violation of a policy, a guest policy. And I was like, what? Like, that makes no sense. Like, maybe I forgot to sign someone out. Like, this just seems like weird. I read through the email and it said I couldn't have any guests until this issue was resolved. Now, I couldn't shower by myself, get out of bed by myself, couldn't like do this stuff on my own, and I was in a lot of pain. I emailed the resident director and I said, hi, I'm like very confused on this. Like, I just had surgery. I just had a knee reconstruction surgery. Like, I need people to help me. And I was like, I was never talked to about this first. Like, no one ever came to me. All I get is this email, and it's telling me, like, basically, I'm being put on probation of having guests in my room. And at the same time, I'm texting my roommate, A, and I'm like, hey, what is up with this? Like, can you let me know? She knows right away, and she tells me that B filed a complaint against me, and she didn't know about it. She didn't know that B was going to do it that day, is what she told me. And she said that she was going to come talk to me like later that same day so that maybe B and I could talk it out. But B already filed this complaint. So that ship sailed. I'm just like beyond angry. Like, I was sitting in class when I got this email and I was literally shaking. So our RD was away also. He was like on vacation. He goes, I won't be back until mid next week. So I'm like, that's terrific. And he told me there's nothing he could do until we have a meeting. And so I was like, okay, that's great. So I go to the hall director, or community director, whatever, and start talking to him. I'm like almost crying to him. And he basically tells me, yeah, sorry, like the RD is the one who handles all this. I can't do anything. I go and I vent to my friend who lives a floor below me, who is now banned from coming up to my room because heaven forbid I have a guest and make my roommate who filed the complaint under, like, whatever. So I later find out that this roommate B has named both A and C in the complaint, and both A and C didn't know that they were named because they didn't agree with what she did, and they both told me that on their own. B has filed a complaint. She's put false information in the complaint, and she's filed it against someone who is currently disabled and now has made it impossible for me to have the necessary help and arrangements that I need to accommodate myself when those arrangements weren't harming anybody. I tried to get in touch with the RA, and the RA was following her policies and couldn't really talk to me, which in a way doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me that the school is so willing to hear the first person that comes to them, and the person who's being blamed when they haven't done anything wrong turns into the perpetrator. I couldn't really get a hold of the RA. B had texted me saying she wanted to chat a bit about stuff, and I was like, look, no way am I talking to you. I don't trust you. I don't want to speak with you. I can't believe you would do this. I don't know why you wouldn't talk to me. If you were confused about why people came in, like, I would have told you, but honestly, if you had any sort of, like, awareness, you would know why I need help. But no, at this point, I'm like, look, I'm not asking anybody in this room for help. There's no way. I felt betrayed. I felt disrespected. I felt unsafe. I started locking my bedroom door because I didn't feel safe with this girl in my suite. If she was willing to file a complaint like this, I didn't know what else she'd be willing to do. All the while I'm trying to deal with this, I'm dealing with school, I'm dealing with my recovery, I'm dealing with my relationship with my boyfriend, and which is very difficult now that I can't have his assistance or help. I can't have my friends help. And so I call my parents. I'm talking to my mom, who's a former prosecutor. I'm like crying to her on the phone every day. Honestly, like, there were many, many violations that this particular roommate had crossed, and not just within the university, but within the federal laws. Thankfully, never had to get that far. But I was willing to do that if it came to it. I made sure she knew. I told A, and I knew that A was going to tell her anyway. So then B got very scared and wanted to retract her complaint. However, you can't do that once you filed an official complaint. Obviously, she was being extremely selfish, and I don't know what was going through her head. I don't know what the deal was. So I then have scheduled meetings with the RD, and I've gone through my lease document. I've gone through like all of this stuff. I tried to get a hold of the roommate agreement from my RA, but I was never given the roommate agreement, and I was never like communicated to. While this is going on, I find out that RAs in the building, residents in the building, all know the situation. They all know different gossiped versions of it. I then become the target of people spotting me with whoever it may be, whether it's my boyfriend, my friends, and they go run and tell the RA, they go run and tell the building manager that I've been seen with someone. They come banging on my door looking for me, which to a level of harassment. So that's a whole nother issue. I felt unsafe in this building. I felt unwelcome in the building and among the university. I felt very much isolated and targeted. I go and I meet with this RD, and I'm expressing to him all my concerns. My mom has drafted an email for him, and the school got scared. I even contacted the disabilities office of the school, which is when they really freaked out. Then I had to have a mediation where I finally got to be face to face with the RA after weeks. So we have this mediation, and then I'm told this university wants to give me a residential reprimand, which meant that this violation of the policy would go on my permanent school disciplinary record. That really pissed me off because I hadn't done anything wrong. I was simply trying to make myself comfortable after my surgery. And not only had I been disrespected by the roommates that I lived with. I had been targeted by people who are supposed to provide an equal environment for everybody. I was now told that this would stay on my record for up to 5 years after I graduate, that any employer could ask to see. The likelihood of that, slim to none. The fact that it was on there when B filed this false complaint really did not sit well with me. My mom had told me if that does not get removed, we will sue, and we'll sue B, we'll sue the school. That never happened, so thankfully we got it all resolved. I went to the RD again. I said, I've read through my lease document, all 35 pages of it. Nowhere in the lease document does it specify that I violated any policy, first of all. Second of all, I've never had any issues within the school disciplinary-wise, so why in the world are you giving me a reprimand when you should be giving me a warning? He proceeds to tell me that, one, since he's an RD, and that's different than the housing people, he goes, I've never actually read a full lease, so I don't know what's in it. I was like, okay, well, I have, and this is what's in it. And then he tells me, and by the way, a reprimand and a warning are basically the same thing. And I had researched this as well. And I said, no, they're not. A warning doesn't go on your record and a reprimand does. So why are you giving me a reprimand? He goes to his superior, who ends up telling him, yes, there is a difference and it's his call to make it. He ends up giving me a warning, and he sort of sees that this situation is kind of ridiculous. And long story short, it gets resolved, but nothing's ever resolved after a little mediation. So after this, I never felt the same in my room. I never felt welcome in my room. I didn't like that B was trying to be so fake and nice to me and try and talk to me all the time, because she really hurt me and she disrespected me, all of this stuff. So I did not want anything to do with her. Now, A changed, and she would be so upset by my presence in the room. She would come in and just be sighing, she'd be slamming doors, all this stuff. And she would hate that my boyfriend was just in there with me, watching TV with me. We had our earbuds in, which, by the way, she never did when she had friends over or anything. I would come in, she would just listen to her stuff out loud. I always had earbuds in because I was like, let me respect her and her space and do everything I can to make sure she's okay. She lied about me. She said all these things about me. And the reason I know this is because she said it while I was in the room, and she knew I could hear her, and she was talking about me to her friend on the phone. All of these lies, all of these things about me, and it's just why? Why? I don't understand. That was my roommate experience. It was rough at the beginning of the semester, and it just got so much worse. Basically, I lived in an extremely toxic environment all year, and it just grew to be more and more toxic. One thing I also forgot to mention was it was the last week of school, and I come back and A has taken all of my things out of the fridge so she can fit her things in the fridge, and she's just left it on my desk. Really? And mind you, I never had that much in the fridge. It was always full of her stuff, whatever. Really bad for my mental health. It was bad for my physical recovery. And I'm so happy I'm out of there and I never have to live with these girls again. So that is it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys found this interesting. I'm over the whole situation. I'm not trying to drag it back up. I'm not trying to defame anybody. I hope you liked it. If you guys did, make sure to give it a like, subscribe down below, and turn on my post notifications so you're notified when I upload. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.